Ladies and gentlemen, the Nintendo Switch is packed absolutely to the brim, full of great, amazing games. I've made countless videos documenting every single one of those games. So what I would like to do in this video is the be-all end-all definitive Nintendo Switch video. We're going to go over 100 Switch games in this video. Let's go ahead and get right into it. I am very thankful for the Switch. It truly changed my life, and it all started with a top 10 Switch game list video. So in this video, I'm going to basically make a compilation of all those videos together, and it will be around like 120 games probably. I'm not sure, but there's going to be quite a few. Before we get started, if you could, please hit a like and subscribe. It would truly mean the world to me. And follow me on Instagram. I'm very active over there and I enjoy conversing with you guys. But let's go ahead and get into this video. Metroid Prime Remastered is everything a remastered game should be, can be. This is the blueprint moving forward. One of the most beloved games that ever came out on the GameCube. The Metroid series itself is just an awesome series. What they did with this game is it's beyond believable. I mean, it's more of a remake than a remastered. Just imagine that. A game that was on GameCube that was remastered on the Switch is now one of the best games on the Switch, period, of all time. This is an insane thing to say, but it is true. It's only $40 too, which is kind of weird for Nintendo. You know, every first party Nintendo game, it's 60 bucks. They said, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna make one of the greatest Switch games of all time, and we're gonna charge $40 for it. And that's exactly what they did, and this game is more than worth it. Let's just get it over with. Tears of the Kingdom, the greatest Zelda game of all time. Breath of the Wild, it was like, how can they top this? It almost seems like a demo for Tears of the Kingdom. Tears of the Kingdom is phenomenal. I have been playing this game, and it's fun. You can go on your Switch and you can look like to see how much time you've played a game. I was like, man, I've probably played like a good 15 hours of this game. I haven't really done that much. I've just been messing around. I went and checked, and I've played over 30 hours of Tears of the Kingdom, and I have barely done legit anything. Somehow they have redefined what gaming is with abilities like Recall and Ultra Hand and Fuse. It's just anything you think is possible, there's a good chance it actually might be. This is Nintendo's most expensive game at $70, but if any game is going to be $70, this is the perfect game to be that price point. It's something you can play forever and always find something new. So if you were to ask me, what is the best Mario game on Switch? Everybody's answer, for good reason, would probably be Super Mario Odyssey, and I wouldn't have any pushback against that. But if you have one chance to play just any Mario game on Switch, I would have to recommend Super Mario 3D World Bowser's Fury. This is such a great game. It is so well made. It is addicting to go through each level, each world. I have beat this game in full 2 times. I believe this was originally on the 3DS, and then they brought it over to the Wii U, and then they added some content to it for the Switch. But it's not just Super Mario 3D World. They've added a complete extra game called Bowser's Fury, and this is kind of like a open world sandbox-esque Mario game made with amazing graphics. Everything looks so freaking good. I think it is a glimpse into the future of what Mario games can be. Yeah, I have to go out and just say it straight up. This is in fact my favorite Mario game on the Switch, and I would recommend this over any other Mario game on the entire platform. What can I say about Hollow Knight? This game is more of an experience than a game. I never thought I would enjoy games like this. Played it because it was on sale in the eShop, and after playing for 2 or 3 days, it is in my top 10 favorite video games of all time, and it made me appreciate more simpler games. Everything doesn't have to be a AAA blockbuster game. This is an indie game made by Team Cherry. This is in the greatest video games of all time list, every single time somebody mentions it. We are waiting on a sequel to this game. Hopefully we'll have some new information soon. But yeah, this game is special. The atmosphere they lay out before you is something extraordinary, and it's very addicting, and it's eerie at times, it's charming at times. It's just a amazing work of art. Nintendo and Pokemon kind of synonymous with each other. The Switch actually has a bunch of Pokemon games on it, but the one that I would recommend is Pokemon Legends Arceus. This is a different take on Pokemon. It's not your standard Pokemon game, and I think this is the first Pokemon game chronologically. They go back to the roots. They tell you how all this Pokemon world stuff started, and it's not more battle driven. It's more focused on catching Pokemon, and that's something I just normally don't do in Pokemon games. I might catch 25 Pokemon in every Pokemon game I play. I'll get my favorite 6 Pokemon, and I'll just run through the entire game with those Pokemon. This game forces you to catch multiple Pokemon every single time to be able to advance to the next area. I'm never going to do it justice by explaining it, but Definitely Pokemon Legend Arceus. Out of any Pokemon game on the Switch, I would have to recommend this one. Another game I just thought that wasn't for me is Kirby games. Kirby and the Forgotten Land is amazing. If you've played anything like Super Mario Odyssey, this kind of feels like Kirby's adventure like that, you know? Kirby is a hero and he's gonna go through and he's gonna save the day. Each level is cool, it has its own theme. Kirby has multiple abilities. He turns into all these different things like a warrior Kirby, a Kirby with a sword, Kirby with fire. This was one of my favorite freaking games I played on the Switch, period. Like I said, I didn't think I was gonna enjoy it. I got it. I could not put it down. I beat this thing in like a week. And yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, if I'm ever bored, this is a game I will definitely pick up again and rebeat. And just off the strength of this game alone, it made me a Kirby fan. The Switch is full of RPGs, JRPGs, whatever. There's tons to choose from. Persona 3, 4, and 5. These are the games that I would recommend. The Persona series is a beloved series, and it just was weird them not being on the Switch. They made perfect sense for the Switch. Now, Persona 3 and 4 I believe come as a package, and Persona 5 is its own standalone game. But any of these games are going to do you justice. They are JRPGs done perfect. There's a reason why they're held in so high regard. This is another thing I don't think I can really explain it to you or sell it to you. If you know what they are, then you're immediately gonna say, yeah, I need to play these games. Just take my recommendation. If you want some JRPG action, pick up any version of these games. You're gonna have a great time playing them, and I think they just fit on the Switch so well. Having the conversation, what is the best looking Switch game? There's a couple options out there. The one that I'm willing to put up every single time in any argument is Luigi's Mansion 3. This game is amazing. It is so fun. It is so different. Luigi is one of my favorite Mario characters because he's an underdog, right? He's the guy you just root for. And in Luigi's Mansion, it's his job to finally save everybody. And not just the gameplay and story for which this game is awesome for. It's the graphics. This game is just beautiful and it's so well designed and made. Now, if you take it a step further and you have a Switch OLED, I would argue it's like almost too impressive. I played Luigi's Mansion 3 when I had my OG Switch, enjoyed it, thought it looked amazing. I got a Switch OLED and I was like, man, the first game that I want to play on my Switch OLED is Luigi's Mansion 3. And that's exactly what I did, and it was so freaking beautiful. It gave me a glimpse into what a Switch Pro could be. Like, imagine all the games look that good. But besides the graphics, the story, the gameplay, the charm of it, the adventure you're gonna have, Luigi's Mansion 3 is a freaking must play on the Switch. For the last game, it was a pretty hard choice, and I thought, what game is a must play? And that is the Portal Collection. This is Portal 1 and 2, and these are games that are gonna challenge you to think outside the box. These, again, are games that come up on the list of the best video games of all time. I never played them. I thought, I don't know if that's for me. You know, it kind of looks like a puzzle game. You just shoot some stuff, you warp through some holes. How good could it really be? This was a huge mistake. These games are something special. Again, I would have to call them works of art, but they're more than that because they challenge you to use your brain in gaming in ways you never thought was possible. The same thing, Tears of the Kingdom kind of redefined gaming. I would argue that Portal did the same thing. Up is down, left is right, forwards is backwards. Nothing is going to make sense until you make it make sense. You always have to find a way to get through these levels. And it's not like there's a lot of controls. All you do is have a gun that opens up portals and holes in the wall. That sounds very simple. This game is nothing close to that. No people are going to have the same experience, and those are games that are always worth cherishing. Truly, what can I say about the Link's Awakening remake on Nintendo Switch? It's such a charming and magical game. So originally, this was the first Link's Awakening version that I ever played. I had such a blast playing it, and then I was like, man, if I haven't played the original, I can't compare this to anything. So I went back and played the original on Game Boy through the Nintendo Switch Online app, and after playing it, I went and replayed the remake again, and the remake is just so special and so perfect. The art style is so cool. I don't want to call it cute, but it is like kind of bubbly and a little goofy and cartoony, but it's really, really awesome and it fits the Switch so well. It's not a lot of controls to learn and the gameplay is not like anything groundbreaking, but it just does its job so well. Yeah, I would argue that this is one of the best Zelda games on the Switch and kind of one of the best Zelda games of all time. It's so well made, and they definitely put a lot of passion into this project. Go out and play Link's Awakening on Nintendo Switch. Ori and the Will of the Wisps is a masterpiece. This is the sequel to Ori and the Blind Forest. It's an adventure game set in a vast and exotic world where you'll encounter towering enemies and challenging puzzles on your quest to discover Ori's true destiny. Master new skills to guide Ori through a journey of untold danger using newly acquired spirit weapons, spells, and attacks. Utilize an all-new shard system to power up Ori's newfound abilities. Face larger-than-life bosses and seek help from an expansive cast of new characters who will help you uncover Ori's mysterious fate. I don't want to sound like a broken record here, But this game it's an experience. Like it's more than a game. When you play it, you feel like you're being a part of something. The world is just so beautiful. The atmosphere and the ambiance that is set out before you is next to none. And it got me into games that I didn't think I would enjoy. Stuff like this and Hollow Knight, I just thought they weren't for me. And after playing them both, I felt like I did myself a huge disservice because these games are so freaking awesome. This game specifically, I think, fits the handheld playing on the Switch so well, and it really enhances your playing experience. And yeah, there's a reason why Ori games always show up on the best games of all time list, because they're just so special. What other games out there can you make your friends mad? And the more mad you make them, the more you enjoy yourself. I'm talking about Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. It's kind of hard for me to explain this in a more in-depth, complex way. You're just some of your favorite IPs of all time, battling it out, beating the crap out of each other. And is there anything really better than that? Imagine having Pikachu beat up Mario, Luigi beat up Pac-Man, Donkey Kong beating up Link or Zelda. It's exactly what you want it to be. Ever since Nintendo 64, this game has continued to improve itself. And yeah, the cast is bigger than ever. The levels are awesome. I think Smash has become a cultural event. It has its spot in pop culture, and there's e-tournaments now, and it's just so cool to see how far it's came from the Nintendo 64. If you just need some kind of multiplayer game, couch co-op game to play on the Switch, this is 100% the definitive game that I would recommend. So the Switch is full of Zelda games. Obviously, I want you to play those. Maybe you've beat them all like me, and you're needing something more. This is the problem I found myself after beating Breath of the Wild. I needed something to just kind of fill that void, and Immortals Phoenix Rising did that and more. Yes, okay, you're gonna say, this just looks like a Zelda clone, a Breath of the Wild clone. I won't push back against that, but if you're just saying that's all this game is, that is a huge disservice, and this game is so much more than that. It does take a lot of inspiration from that, but it's such its own game that I would recommend it to anybody, Zelda fan or not. It tackles Greek mythology, and it's so cool. The voice acting is really good. The open world they've set out before you is so fun to explore. The enemies are fun to fight. You have all these cool abilities and powers. And I've actually learned a lot about Greek mythology just by playing this game. It's made by Ubisoft, and they do have like a battle pass system, but I never bought that. You don't have to play that. This is a game that I hope continues to get support. I know that they're done like supporting this game. I would truly love to see a sequel to this one day. The cool thing about this game is every other eShop sale, it routinely goes on sale for like $15 or less, and you're gonna get like at least 50-40 hours of gameplay, and you're gonna have fun. Yeah, if you were on the fence about buying this, buy it. If you've never heard about this, buy it. It seems like everybody's having their open world adventure. This is the time of open world games, and Sonic did the same thing. Sonic Frontiers. You know what's cool is when you think a game's gonna do decent and then it exceeds your expectations, that's kind of what Sonic Frontiers did to everybody, and it lets you know it's possible for the future. The music in this game is really cool. Everybody's like, oh, this is Sonic Breath of the Wild. I guess any game that's open world and has grass all around is immediately compared to Breath of the Wild now. This is an open world Sonic game. I was curious, how is this gonna work? And it was awesome. It was really fast paced and fun to explore and fun to use Sonic in this new setting. I do enjoy 2D Sonic more, but maybe it's more nostalgia than anything. But I think this is a great precursor for what Sonic can be in the future. Like I said, I thought this game was not going to do as great as it did. I thought it was going to be kind of underwhelming, and I thought the graphics weren't going to hold up on the Switch. But it turns out I was wrong about all that. I mean, it's Sonic, and it's open world, and there's action, and there's rock music. What else do I need to tell you to play this freaking game? Get out there and play Sonic Frontiers. One of the most iconic games of all time is Wii Sports. And I was curious, where the hell is Nintendo Switch Sports? Well, it eventually came, and I kind of feel like it was swept under the rug. This game is pretty awesome. It's not anything groundbreaking, but it is exactly what you think it is. It's an updated version of Wii Sports with new games on a new platform, and it's a lot of fun. I kind of felt like it was hindered by coming out so late on the Switch. I feel like this should have been easily in the first year, or even a launch title for the Switch. It would have done way better. Don't let it deter you that maybe not everybody's talking about it. When you look up the sales, this game actually sells incredibly well, and for good reason. Another game that I think is a must-play is Fire Emblem Engage. In a war against the Fell Dragon, 4 kingdoms work together with heroes from other worlds to seal away this great evil. 1,000 years later, the seal was weakened, and the Fell Dragon is about to reawaken. As a divine dragon, use rich strategies and robust customization to meet your destiny, to collect 12 emblem rings and bring back the peace. Yeah, sometimes it's fun to just sink a million hours into a game, and an RPG is going to do that every single time for you. Fire Emblem Engage looks great, it plays great, the world is beautiful, and a really cool thing about this game is They are still supporting this game now. So far, I don't know if they're releasing more, but they have released 4 different DLC waves to enhance the story with new items and new accessories, new characters, and even new stories and class types, and that's really awesome. I think Fire Emblem is a really great series to get into. Maybe you don't want to go back and play anything else. Well, lucky for you, this one just came out this year, and this one is going to do the job for everybody. Now, my favorite RPG may be something a little unorthodox. I'm a huge South Park fan. I don't know if you can see, but if you look behind me over there, there's a bunch of South Park plushies. I love South Park, and South Park: The Stick of Truth is one of my favorite games of all time. Not even that, it's one of my favorite RPGs of all time. You get to create your own South Park character, something we've all wanted to do, be a person that lives in South Park through the shows, and in this game, you get to go out and set off on an awesome adventure. It's an RPG, but it actually is such a good RPG, besides the point of it being a South Park game. It is so fun. You get to explore the entire town of South Park, go in every single building, every single business. It's actually crazy how in-depth this game really is. You even get to go to Canada in this game. That's a magical place that I've only heard existed, and that's got to count for something. All jokes aside, man, this game is so fun, and yeah, I cannot wait for a new South Park game. So maybe sports games are not for you. That's kind of how I feel myself in. I do like playing Madden sometimes, but other than that, they're just not that entertaining to me. That's not anything against them, because they are fun. Obviously, they sell billions of copies every day, but Curse to Golf is in fact the best sports game on the entire Switch. Now you may be asking, what the hell is Curse to Golf, Robot Joe? Well, Curse to Golf is an amazing game. It's kind of like a roguelike sports game, Metrovania style, whatever. It's all mashed together, but let me explain. You're a man who is struck by lightning and you're sent to purgatory. How do you get out of purgatory, you may ask? Well, you have to golf your way through 18 holes of levels or climbing up back to Earth, whatever you want to call it. You do have all these cool power-ups to help you, and while you're golfing, you keep going up, you keep unlocking all these power-ups. That's cool. Now here's the caveat. Say you're on hole 9 and you lose. Do you get to do hole 9 over? Well, no, you don't. You have to go all the way back to the beginning. That may sound repetitive to you. It's not, because you'll never play the same thing twice. It's all like, I forgot what it's called, like AI generated or something, but the courses always refresh into something new. So you play 15 holes, you die, you go back to hole 1, you're going to play those same 15 holes again, but it's going to be new courses each time. So you're never playing the same course twice. There's all these like weird things that happen, and it's so freaking fun. And if I'm making a confession here, I've actually never beat this. I've got the hole 17 like 30 times, and I've always got knocked back to 0 because it gets so freaking hard. This is another game that kind of went under everybody's radar, and I'm here to tell you guys, that's a huge mistake. This is such a freaking fun game. I think it's like 20 bucks, very fair priced. Check it out. Where the hell is a new Donkey Kong game? We don't have one. Donkey Kong, I feel like it's around the corner, especially with Donkey Kong being such a important role in the Mario movie. But we do have Donkey Kong Country Freeze, which is a port of a Wii U game, just with some added content. I think they only added like Funky Kong or something. That being said, this game is so freaking good. It's so fun. People may be saying, yeah, it's just Donkey Kong. That's true. But the way they had designed the levels and the music and the graphics and the gameplay, it is just such a really fun time. Donkey Kong needs more respect. That's just how I feel. You gotta remember, this is where Mario even came from, the OG Donkey Kong game. But now Mario's the big shot out here. It's not sitting right with me. Just talking about this right now, I have not played this game since I first got my Switch, and I think when I have some free time, I'm gonna go back and replay this because it is so fun. And maybe if we show enough interest in this game, Nintendo will make a new Donkey Kong game. We can only hope. Fingers crossed. Oceanhorn 2, Knights of the Lost Realm, set 1,000 years before the events of the first chapter, takes you on a magical journey across the vast world of Gaia, brimming with mythology and lore. A young knight faces an impossible challenge, as Warlock Mesbrith has returned with a dark army. Immediately you're gonna say, is this game inspired by Zelda? And it clearly is. I was looking for something Zelda related between Zelda games, and this game popped up. I believe it was actually originally made by Apple. Even though it's heavily inspired by Zelda, this game is actually pretty good. It's a very solid game. I think it's definitely worth giving a try for anybody a Zelda fan or not. I'm here to tell you, it's definitely worth it. Sometimes we just want to be naughty, right? Sometimes we just want to commit a little tax evasion. Let me explain. I'm talking about Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion. Take control of an adorable turnip who happens to be an absolute menace to society. After failing to pay taxes and getting evicted from your home, you must go on an epic quest to pay back your massive debt to Mayor Onion. Garden tools to solve fantastic puzzles, meet eccentric vegetables and fruits, and take on treacherous fights. Along the journey, uncover what's spoiling this garden community and rise to tear down this corrupt vegetable government. Just off that description alone, if this game does not want to make you play it, then I don't even know who the hell you really are. I know the game sounds goofy and the title's even crazier. This game is seriously freaking awesome, and it is routinely on sale on the eShop. What about a game that's not on sale, but still on sale? I'm talking about a game that's always cheap, but is somehow still pretty good. I'm talking about Tori 3D and Tori 2. These are two games that are both full priced at $1. They're both fast-paced platformers, and they're actually really fun. The gameplay is actually super solid. I can't really explain it more than it's a platformer, but the graphics are good. They even have some cutscenes, I think, in Tori 2. What else are you gonna get that's $1? That's a full game. This is not a game that's on sale. Pick these games up. They're definitely gonna do the trick. And every now and then, I'm looking for something to play just to fill some time. They do the job every single time. Now let's talk about a full-fledged badass game. Katana Zero puts you in control of a nameless samurai assassin with the power to manipulate time and see into the future in an extremely clever way. Every level is built around you planning your assassination. So instead of your character dying, you're told no, that won't work. Then you'll rewind back and start, giving you a chance to find the actual solution that doesn't end in your death. Every level will end with a security camera recording of what actually happened. This game is beautiful. It's fast-paced. I never heard of this game until I was researching to make this video, and I feel like I was missing out. This is definitely something I'm going to be playing immediately after making this video. I want to talk about a new game, and I know it's hard to say a new game is actually a hidden gem, but this game kinda came and went, so I'm going to include it on this list. In Have a Nice Death, you will play as Death, the founder and CEO of Death Incorporated, a sprawling corporate empire that processes souls for the afterlife, who is currently finding himself teetering on the edge of a burnout. His top executives, the Sorrow, have been running rampant on the Earth's surface, blatantly ignoring company protocols, leaving him buried in an underworld-sized mountain of paperwork. Now, in order to regain control of his company and supply chain, as well as a secure much-needed vacation, he will need to traverse the various departments of Death Incorporated and remind his unruly subordinates who's boss. As soon as I seen this game being announced, I just loved the art style immediately. I was like, whoa, is that something like Hollow Knight? And it turns out it's not. It's more of a roguelike game. It's actually really freaking cool. If you're not into roguelike games, you may not enjoy this. Even if you're not, I would still say give this game a chance. This is a very, very well polished take on this genre. And yeah, definitely play it. So, what's better than robots, right? I'm Robot Joe. What's better than that? Maybe a cat and a robot? I'm talking about Gato Roboto. This art style is everything to me. Pounce inside of your cozy armored mech and set off on a dangerous trek through an alien underworld full of irritable creatures and treacherous obstacles in a valiant effort to save your stranded captain and his crashed spaceship. Tiptoe outside the friendly confines of your technological marvel and follow your feline instincts through the tight tunnels and mysterious waterways to scavenge for new weapons and gears. Adventure awaits the most curious of cats in Gato Roboto. It's black and white, very simple graphics, so everything you're gonna get is strictly relying on the gameplay. And I'm here to tell you that does its freaking job. This is strictly just a great freaking game. Definitely check out Gato Roboto. So, I just got back from vacation, and I'm here to tell you, I hate freaking traveling. I like being somewhere, but I truly despise going in airports and on airplanes and baggage claim, and just, I hate traveling. I wish there was a game that could do that for me. Or is there? The Tourist is a game where you just kind of play as a tourist. You're arriving at the Monument Islands. Do you want to go swimming? Or would you rather take a dive into the deep sea? Or do you want to visit an amusement arcade, do some shopping, dance at the beach party? Do you fancy some surfing? Or will you talk with a strange old tourist and listen what he has to say about these ancient mysterious monuments? On the surface level, you truly think this is just a game where you just walk around and can do kind of any activity, which in itself is pretty cool. You go play some games at the arcade, like they said, or go dive and swim around the ocean. Just that, it is a very cool exploration game. But it turns out there's actually some mystery to unravel here. And a side note about this game, this is one of the few games on the Switch that actually run at 60 FPS. I know that sounds crazy, it looks and runs phenomenal, so definitely check it out, The Tourist. So I'm a sucker for playing very cheap games, $1, $2, $3. I just have fun buying them and trying them, and every now and then you come across a true hidden gem. Apple Knight was just that for me. It's a beautiful action platformer RPG. You get to fight wizards, defeat bosses, use traps and magic, and You can upgrade your armor, pets, weapons, and abilities. There are secret areas in every single level. The gameplay is so freaking smooth and fast-paced and tight. I was addicted to this game. Truly, I was. I think this game is $10 normally, but it is every single eShop sale that there is. It's always on sale for $2. Freaking love this game. I don't know. I beat it, I think, in like 3 days. So it is a decent game, and it has tons of replayability, and you're never gonna do the same thing twice. And it's actually a pretty decent RPG. It's very, very fun to upgrade your weapons and your armor and your abilities, and you can get a little pet that helps you out, and the bosses are actually pretty freaking hard. So if you have a chance, please play Apple Knight. So often when video games hit their second or third entry in the series, they can kind of stagnate a little bit, get stale, or do something that doesn't kind of make sense. Lucky for us, Splatoon 3 is a sequel done right. Pretty much it's Splatoon at its best. The first game was the launch of the series, the second game continued it, and the third, in my opinion, is a definitive version of Splatoon. Not only is a game tight and crisp and as fun as it's ever been, they still support this game pretty much all the time, and they have something called Splatfest, where it becomes a huge community contest event, and it really does bring the community of Splatoon fans together, and there's not that many other game franchises that are able to do that so efficiently. It's just such a cool concept. Who can paint the level the most? It's cool. So I never played Skyward Sword on the Wii, and I know it was very up in the air. You either loved it, you hated it, there's kind of no in between. Me, myself, Zelda's my favorite franchise, so when Skyward Sword HD Remake headed over to the Switch, I knew I had to play it. It turns out, I think it might be one of the best Zelda games of all time. This is where Zelda begins chronologically. This is the first storyline of the Zelda games, and it's awesome to see Link and Zelda interact for the first time. And I think the setting of being up in the sky is such a unique thing. And also, I'm a big sucker for the traditional Zelda dungeons and areas like that. It's crazy because now I feel like I never have time to play games because there's just so much stuff out, and I haven't even beat Tears of the Kingdom yet. But this is a game that I want to replay whenever I do have the time, because I think it's worth diving in and learning all the lore. The gameplay's fun. I think the motion controls work really well on the Switch, but it's cool to have the option to not play with them on the Switch, and that's kind of how I played, and it's just a lot of fun. If you're a Zelda fan, Skyward Sword HD Remake is definitely one worth checking out. Yeah, Octopath Traveler was one of the first major Switch games pretty much ever, and it was super beloved, and when the second one was announced, fans were very, very excited, and for good reason. Octopath Traveler 2 is a brand new entry in the Octopath Traveler series. It takes the series' HD 2D graphics, a fusion of retro pixel art, to even greater heights. In the world of Celestia, 8 new travelers venture forth into an exciting new era. Where will you go? What will you do? Whose tale will you bring to life? Every path is yours to take. Yeah, I truly think this is one of the most beautiful games on the Switch, especially if you have a Switch OLED. This is one of those games that you just appreciate it so much as you play it. Yes, the gameplay is good. Yes, the story is good. But when you bring that, including all the graphics and just the feeling of it all together, it truly does give you a certain feeling that makes you just appreciate great video games. So I never played Minecraft. It just was a game that I kind of missed, and I never had played Dragon Quest, another series I had just never played. I eventually played Dragon Quest 11 and I loved it. So when I seen Dragon Quest Builders 2, I was very curious. It turns out it was such a freaking fun game. It is basically Dragon Quest and Minecraft mixed together. It's really neat how they make you build to be able to progress the story, and you never feel like it's a chore. I would go legit days spending hours and hours and hours building up my village when it had no effect on the actual game. It was just so neat to be able to be like, alright, how can I build this? Oh, I need to build a fence. Oh, I need water. Oh, I want to get new people to come and live in my village to help us out. I knew it was a great game when I had checked how long I've been playing, and I was like, man, I've had this game for like a week or two. I wonder how long I've played. And I had put over 30 hours into it. I was like, alright, there's definitely something here. Maybe Minecraft is too much for you to get into, or maybe you want something a little bit more story driven. I would say Dragon Quest Builders 2 is going to definitely fill that void for you, and it might also help you just get into both genres. And yeah, I just think it's very, very fun, and it may be not a game you ever even thought of playing. So yes, we had a Mario Party game on the Switch, but there was really nothing there. I think there was like 3 or 4 maps, and that was it. True, it was Mario Party at its core, but it just didn't have the charm that we all expected from Mario Party. Lucky for us, Mario Party Superstars eventually came around. I think in this game, there's something like over 100 mini games from previous Mario Party games through every single console and generation, and that's the kind of Mario Party game that we all want to play. Mario Party was one of those first games where I truly felt like it was an actual event. Having all your friends over or family over and playing this game multiplayer, it was one of the first true multiplayer games that I felt brought everybody closer. And it's just so fun, and I thought, man, they really missed the mark on the first Mario Party on the Switch. Somebody must have felt the same way at Nintendo, because I'm super thankful that Mario Party Superstars eventually came around. So just so you know, there is 2 Mario Parties on the Switch. Don't buy the other one, buy Mario Party Superstars, and you're going to have all that Mario Party fun that you've came to know. Very few games on the Switch were surrounded with controversy. Advanced Wars 1 and 2 Reboot Camp was kind of one of those games that just found itself in the middle of a world conflict. Unleash your superior strategy skills in this all-new spin on the beloved strategy series. This remake will feature 2 campaigns that cover the events of Advance Wars and Advance Wars 2 The Black Hole Rising. Yeah, I just always thought Advance Wars was just a fun series. You know, when I first played it, I think on the DS or something, it was a game I didn't even think I would like, but it turns out it was just one of those games that suck you in, just strictly off how fun and good the gameplay is. And the remakes of these games had been rumored for a while. Some way, somehow, these games ended up being put on hold indefinitely. And yeah, once they finally came out, people were like, okay, that's cool. Thank goodness we could play these, but I don't think putting these games out during a time of war would have had anybody turn their heads. But I guess it was Nintendo just being respectful. And a lot of people didn't even know they ended up ever dropping. So I'm here today to tell you to definitely pick up Advance Wars 1 and 2 Reboot Camp. So The Witcher 3 on the Switch is often labeled the impossible port. I have no pushback against that, but in my opinion, No Man's Sky is the impossible port. When this game first came out, like 5 or 6 years ago, it was surrounded by controversy. It was such an ambitious title, had an ambitious concept, and then when the game kind of came out, people were like, there's nothing to do here. What the team at No Man's Sky ended up doing over the years to follow is nothing short of extraordinary, and they really put the time and effort into this game and made it into something super awesome today. That being said, when it was announced for the Switch, 99% I would have bet this is going to be a cloud version. How can a game run like this on the Switch? It turns out it wasn't the cloud version, and it runs amazing on the Switch. It looks amazing on the Switch. It's truly one of those games that make me think of how far we've came in modern gaming. How I can play a game like this handheld on the go. It's just nothing short of extraordinary. And again, you may not have thought this is going to run well on the Switch, or you may have been on the fence about it. I'm here to tell you that No Man's Sky, in my opinion, is the impossible port, and it's definitely a game worth checking out. So one of the games that came out in the past year, I think, that really had me intrigued was a game called Sifu. Yeah, I definitely had to check it out. So the cool thing about Sifu is you have to learn as you play. Your enemies don't wait their turn, and they don't broadcast their intent. You have to dodge, parry, strike, use combos, and be like water, making its way through captivating environments. Learn how to master your art, whether by fighting through the underbelly of a nightclub, scrambling through a refined gallery to avoid getting surrounded, or vertically navigating a towering office building. The cool thing about Sifu is every single time you die, you age. So maybe you're 21, you die, you come back, you're 23, but you keep all that previous knowledge. So as you get older in the game, you get better at the game. But once you get too old and eventually die, that's it, you start all over again. I think this is such a cool take on the fighting genre, and Sifu is definitely a must play. So, shooters are kind of a weird area on the Switch. They're either good, or they're wonky, or they're weird, or they're whimsical, or they're just non-existent. I was looking for a good shooter. I came across Sniper Elite 4, and it turned out to be one of my favorite playing experiences on the Switch ever. It has super exaggerated sniper shots. It's cool. You get to go through Italy during World War II and complete missions. You can shoot long sniper shots across the entire map, or you can sneak up on people and do a stealth kill. You can just use your pistols and come blasting through. Yeah, this is one of those games I've never heard anybody talk about on the Switch. That's kind of not cool, because these games are so freaking fun. After I beat 4, I went and bought Sniper Elite 3 and 2 on the Switch, and they're just such a good time. And they don't take themselves too serious, but they're still really good games, and I think that's important. So I said No Man's Sky is the impossible port. It turns out people consider Nier Automata, the End of Yorha edition, the perfect port. In the distant future, invaders from another world attack without warning, unleashing a new type of threat, weapons known as machine life forms. In the face of this threat, mankind is driven from Earth and takes refuge on the moon. As to be a member of the newly organized android military force Yorha, players will immerse themselves in a ferocious battle to take back the planet. Once this game came out, there wasn't like too many crazy expectations for it, but once it did eventually come out, it blew everybody's expectations out of the water. Like, it was so good. I think this was one of the highest rated games last year when it came out. Every single aspect of this game, to the gameplay, to the graphics, to the music, it's just perfect, and it found a new home on the Switch. In some way, somehow, like I said, became one of the best games, period, on the Switch. So this is definitely a game that you guys need to check out. I mean, what do I say about Xenoblade Chronicles 3? Forge your own path across a stunning sci-fi landscape brimming with discoveries. Scour the world to find new locations, items, treasures, and unique monsters. Along your journey, you may even notice a few familiar sights. I don't know. I would probably say Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is the pinnacle of Xenoblade. I know a lot of people like the second one, but I would say the third one is a definitive one that I would recommend for the Switch. So another game people have been asking, where the hell is Super Mario Odyssey? Guys, don't worry. It's on this list. It is, in fact, the greatest Mario game ever created. It is not my favorite Mario game, but it is the greatest one, and I can't deny that. What they did with Super Mario Odyssey is took it up to another level. Some way, somehow, it feels like every previous Mario game mashed into one, but on a whole new level. It truly is Mario's greatest adventure. Whenever we get another huge mainline Mario game, I kinda would be happy if they made a Mario Odyssey 2. I would love for them to continue this adventure because it truly is amazing. What about when you want non-stop action? Well, that's exactly what you're gonna get in Doom Eternal. Hell's armies have invaded Earth. Become the Slayer in an epic single-player campaign to conquer demons across dimensions and stop the final destruction of humanity. The only thing they fear is you. Going all the way back to the first Doom, up into Doom Eternal, it is amazing that they've continued to evolve this franchise, and I would just say it has got better every single step of the way. Taking it a step further, Doom Eternal runs fantastic on the Switch, and I'm not even sure how that's truly possible. Every single element of this game is just perfect. It some way, somehow, has found a perfect home on Nintendo Switch. Yeah, I don't know. If you've never played it, this is a must play on the Switch. Doom Eternal, definitely check it out. So I have a game here that you may think I'm kidding about, but I truly am not. Super Monkey Ball Mania Banana Blitz HD. One of my favorite playing experiences on the Switch. It feels like it's always been at the Switch, like it was made for the Switch. But that just wasn't the case. But once this game was released for the Switch, I think it went super under the radar. Maybe people think Monkey Ball is too childish or whimsical. That's not the case at all. This game is so freaking fun. It's addicting. There's not a huge learning curve. There's a little nostalgia when you play it. The mini games are a whole nother aspect in themselves. Whenever I just want to play something and I kind of want to just zone out, this is the game I go to every single time. So if you've never thought about it or you've overlooked it, I'm telling you that's a huge mistake. Because Super Monkey Ball is in fact a must-play game. Metroid Dread is a masterpiece. There's no other way to say this. Upon investigating a mysterious transmission, Samus faces a mysterious foe that traps her in this dangerous world. The remote planet has been overrun by vicious alien lifeforms and murderous robots. Hunt or be hunted as you make your way through a labyrinth of enemies in Samus' most intense side-scrolling adventure yet. This game was announced and launched aside the Nintendo Switch OLED, and it almost felt like an event. Like, this was our first new Metroid game on the Switch, and it was 2D and it was side-scrolling, and people were wondering, okay, can we go back to something 2D at this point? And the answer was hell yeah. This game was perfect. Legit a top 10 Switch game. Don't let it fool you. Just off the graphics, this game is freaking hard. But it is satisfying once you do accomplish what you're trying to accomplish in this game. I think this game is always going to be looked back on super fondly. It should be in everybody's top Switch games of all time. It truly is perfect. In Bayonetta 3, strut through multiple locations in an all-new, over-the-top, climax action game. Bayonetta must face mysterious man-made evil using her signature guns, time-slowing witch time ability, and demonic darlings. Shoot, stomp, and slam your way through multiple locations, meeting other wicked witches along the way. Yeah, in my opinion, Bayonetta 3 is a perfect Bayonetta game. It's just badass. I mean, there's no other way to really say anything about this game. It is just so freaking cool, so much action. If you've never played a Bayonetta game, I don't even think you need to go back and play the first two. Start with the third one. If you like that, then go back and play the other ones, but you're gonna like this. There's no question about it. So what about a game for two? I'm talking about It Takes Two. This game is something special. It's an emotional journey. The lead characters, May and Cody, are a married couple considering divorce, whose minds are inadvertently trapped in two dolls when their daughter starts crying. Together, the couple must learn to work together and regain their bodies. It's a genre-bending platform adventure created purely for co-op. Master unique and connected character abilities in every new level. I think this game is something truly special. If you know about this game, you know I'm not telling you anything new. If you don't know about this game, grab a friend, a partner, play this game, and by the end of it, your bond is going to be something stronger. And any game or any medium in the world that can actually do that is something that should always be looked at very closely because it is really special. So you could say, do we have GTA on the Switch? And I can tell you, yeah, we kind of have this trilogy, the definitive edition, but I wouldn't really say we still have GTA on the Switch. It doesn't give you the feeling of playing GTA. But lucky for you, for me, for whoever the hell wants to play these games, we have Saints Row 3. If you've played Saints Row, you know how crazy and wacky and insane it can get, but that's kind of what makes Saints Row's games fun. They don't take themselves too serious, but there's still a lot of game to be had and adventure to be had. This is another game when I just want to zone out and turn off everything and just have some crazy fun. This game is going to do it for me every single time. And it is like a GTA clone. It is open world. There is a lot of stuff you get to do. You can be a gang member and go and start this criminal enterprise, or you can fly a hot dog around and shoot prostitutes. I mean, either one sounds fine, right? And the cool thing about this is it's always on sale in the eShop for like $5 or $6, and that comes with all the DLC. So a game that never made an appearance in America until it got to the Nintendo Switch was Live Alive. I believe this was a Super Nintendo game in Japan only, but yeah, it finally got a remastered remake, and it's beautiful. The gameplay is amazing. The story is just next to none. You get to take on like 6 or 8 people, I can't remember, but each person basically has their own game. So you'll be like this cowboy guy, and you'll go into like a whole Western world and do that storyline. Then you'll pick up like this guy in Imperial China or something, and you'll play his life and his storyline. And each one is perfect. Each one is a masterpiece. And I don't know how they were able to do that. Not even that, this game's HD 2D graphics are beautiful. It feels like you're playing like an art piece, or like you're diving into a real storybook. I don't know if I can even do this game justice, but if you've ever thought about buying this game, please do it. It won't be a mistake. And if you haven't thought about buying it, but it kind of looks interesting, please do. But if you don't want to go and purchase it, remember, there is a demo of this on the eShop, so check that out, and then maybe you'll want to pick up the game. So the last game I have for you, again, you may be saying, Robot Joe, I think you're losing your touch. This one might not seem like it will be good. Just bear with me, guys. I'm talking about SpongeBob SquarePants The Cosmic Shake. Wish granting mermaids tears in the hands of SpongeBob and Patrick? What could possibly go wrong? Sure, the very fabric holding the very universe together could come very undone, opening up portals into wish worlds full of knights, cowboys, pirates, and prehistoric snails. But that's nothing everyone's favorite sponge can't handle. I know it sounds crazy. This is the greatest SpongeBob SquarePants game ever. SpongeBob is a classic. I've played every SpongeBob game since pretty much the beginning of time. And anytime a SpongeBob game comes out, I will always be the first one to pick it up. And again, I think this game got the treatment of, oh, it's too childish. It's not for me. That's a freaking mistake, dude. This game is fun. It's badass. Yeah, I think it is the perfect game for a Switch. There is tons of great Mario games to choose from on the Switch, but what about a Mario game that's more than one game? Super Mario 3D All-Stars. This was what I kind of always wanted in a Mario game. We have Super Mario 64. The start of 3D Mario. We have Super Mario Sunshine, which is in fact my favorite Mario game of all time. And we have Super Mario Galaxy, what some people say is the greatest Mario game ever created. They are perfect on the Switch. They look great, they run great, they give you all the feelings that you had maybe when you played them the first time. And if you could truly only play one Mario game on the Switch, this is the one I'd recommend because there's 3 games here. Now that Super Mario 3D All-Stars is becoming harder and harder to find, that is the only issue I would have recommending this game because it's no longer on the eShop, but you can still get lucky and find copies out there for retail price, or you can find them at pawn shops, secondhand stores, stuff like that. So just keep an eye out. Every time I make one of these videos, a game you guys keep requesting to be on the next list is Astral Chain. The few survivors of a massive global disaster gather together in a futuristic megacity. Now it is your job to protect them against otherworldly invaders, but you are not alone as a member of a special police task force. The last remnants of humanity depend on you, and to save the world, you must investigate its dark side. Explore a near future cyberpunk metropolis, solving crimes and seeing how the last remnants of humanity struggle to survive. As you save the world from extra-dimensional invaders, you'll also interact with citizens, question suspects, and team up with members of your task force to solve cases. This game, freaking amazing. It definitely should have been on every list previous that I made. Not only that, it just looks so good. Especially have a Switch OLED, I don't know how they're able to capture the gameplay and the colors that they did, but it almost feels like it's too good. You know what I mean? Astral Chain is a must play. So during a recent Nintendo Direct, one of the games that had caught my attention was something called Ghost Trick, and it turns out this is a remake of a Nintendo DS game. Ghost Trick is an adventure game in which players control a ghost who uses his unearthly powers to save lives. During gameplay segments, players can swap at will between the land of the living, where time flows naturally, and the ghost world, in which time is stopped. In the ghost world, you can travel between objects within a certain radius. You can animate these objects to perform actions known as ghost tricks. So maybe like a woman's about to be robbed or something like that, you can manipulate an object above the robber to fall down and it will land on him, and then you'll end up saving the girl. The whole concept is amazing. I never knew about this when it was on Nintendo DS, but now that it's on the Switch, it's just been on my radar ever since I first learned about it. And I have a weird feeling that Ghost Trick is going to be a sleeper hit on the Switch. Pikmin 4 is right around the corner, but if you need a little bit more Pikmin before that, lucky for you, Pikmin 1 and 2 are now on the Switch. In Pikmin 1, you meet Captain Olimar and a capable cast of red, blue, and yellow Pikmin on a dire mission across a larger-than-life planet. In Pikmin 2, swap between Olimar and Louie to divide and conquer. Tasked with helping pay off their employer's debt, the pint-sized pair teams up with Pikmin to collect treasure on a strange planet. I think this was the perfect games to bring over. I know Pikmin 4 is coming out and they want to capitalize off that, but I think Pikmin 1 and 2 should have been on the Switch from the start. Now you have Pikmin 1, 2, and 3, and Pikmin 4 coming, and I think Pikmin is going to become a household name. I think Pikmin 3 kind of got everybody into the series more, but now going back and playing the first two, you'll understand why Pikmin is really, really special. You can purchase these games separately, or you can purchase them together as a bundle, and I think you save like $10, so that's definitely the route I would take. Often regarded as some of the greatest video games of all time, BioShock is a series that should be on everybody's list. Lucky for you, the BioShock collection is on the Switch. That is BioShock 1 Remastered, BioShock 2 Remastered, and BioShock Infinite the Complete Edition. In BioShock 1, explore the undersea city of Rapture, a haven for society's greatest minds that are devolved into a dystopian nightmare wrought by one man's hubris. In BioShock 2, see Rapture through the eyes of a Subject Delta, a fearsome Big Daddy prototype on a life or death mission to rescue his missing little sister. In BioShock Infinite, indebted to the wrong people, private investigator Booker DeWitt must take on the impossible task, travel to a flying city above the clouds and rescue a woman named Elizabeth. These games are works of art. There's no other way to describe them. When you're playing BioShock games, you actually feel like a feeling that you're going to remember forever. I'm going to say something super unpopular here, but BioShock Infinite is actually my favorite of the three. I know, how could I say that? But no matter what, play these games. They're always on the eShop for like $15 for the entire collection. You kind of can't go wrong. Dragon Quest XI S is pretty much the best RPG in my opinion. You are the Luminary, the hunted hero who will protect the land from destruction. With a ragtag band of adventurers, you'll engage in well-balanced, turn-based battles and embark on quests across the kingdom, forge gear, develop party member skills, and alter their outfits without changing gear in this edition of the game. This version also lets you ride and attack with monsters on the field to earn experience points. It's funny, I would go to like GameStop or my local game store and I would say, hey man, recommend me a Switch game, these are the games I've played. And everybody would always recommend Dragon Quest XI, and I would just be like, I don't think it's for me. Once I finally got around to picking it up, I'm not exaggerating, I think I put down like 15 hours of this game in the first weekend alone. I absolutely loved it. I loved the story. It's just like the perfect RPG in my opinion. And it made me want to go back and play older Dragon Quest games, even the 2D stuff. I even went and played Dragon Quest Builders 2. I'm a huge Dragon Quest fan, and it's strictly off the strength of this game. So if you're looking for an RPG, I would definitely recommend Dragon Quest XI. One of the coolest and weirdest and most special games I would say in the past couple years, in my opinion, would have to be Cuphead. Cuphead is a classic run and gun action game, heavily focused on boss battles. Inspired by cartoons of the 1930s, the visuals and audio are painstakingly created by the same techniques of that era. Traditional hand-drawn cell animation, watercolor backgrounds, and original jazz recordings. You get to play as Cuphead or Mugman as you traverse strange worlds, acquire new weapons, learn powerful super moves, and discover hidden secrets while you try to pay your debt back to the devil. I could be wrong, which I probably am, but I'm almost certain that this game was developed by like 2 friends, and that's amazing. If that's not the case, who cares? This game is still amazing. It's so good, it even got a Netflix show. So this game is insanely hard, but once you actually beat a boss that you've been trying to beat for hours, you're gonna get a wave of relief and satisfaction, and I think it's a game that everybody truly should try. So a series that I have recently learned about, but I wish I would have known about sooner, is Blasphemous. A curse has fallen upon the land and all its inhabitants. It's simply known as the miracle. You are a sole survivor of the massacre of the Silent Sorrow, trapped in an endless cycle of death and rebirth. It's down to you to free this world from this terrible fate and reach the origin of your anguish. Explore this nightmarish world of twisted religion and discover its many secrets hidden deep inside. Use devastating combos and brutal executions to smite the hordes of grotesque monsters and titanic bosses who are all ready to rip your limbs off. I'm not sure what it is about this style of game. Yes, it kind of gives me nostalgic feelings, but it's just badass. I really don't know how else to say it. Another cool thing about Blasphemous games is they're usually always on sale. I think this is legit on sale on the eShop right now, but they're just worth even picking up at full price. I don't know. I'm a huge fan of the art style. I'm a huge fan of like the gameplay and the story and just everything that this game pretty much is. And this is a game I never see come up on like the top Switch games list, so I definitely wanted to add it here. And it's definitely something I think everybody should check out. Finally, we can put Pikmin 4 on this list. That's right, Pikmin 4 is finally here, and it has been 10 years since Pikmin 3 was released. Pikmin 4 is going to take this series to the next level, and I really think it's going to make Pikmin a household name. In Pikmin 4, you can finally create your own explorer for the first time ever. Not only that, you can explore at nighttime for the first time ever. There's a couple new Pikmin, like an Ice Pikmin and a Glow Pikmin, and there's even a puppy named Ochi. Another cool thing about Pikmin 4 is they have something called Dandori battles, where it's like a battle to see who can collect the most treasure in a certain amount of time. Pikmin 4 really did do everything to elevate this franchise, and this is a must play for anybody on the Nintendo Switch. So what about a game that can never end? Surely that should make a top 10 Switch games list, right? I'm talking about Super Mario Maker 2. There's really no other way to explain this except you create the Mario world of your dreams. Anytime you've been playing a Mario game and you thought, man, this level was good, but if they would have added this or took away this, it would have been a lot better. Well, that power is now in your hands. Super Mario Maker 2 does also have a story mode that's actually pretty good as well, but we know we're all here to make our own Mario courses. And a cool thing about this is you can share your courses with people online and play other people's courses, and I gotta tell you, it gets pretty intense and pretty insane. Some of the levels people have made in Super Mario Maker 2 are nothing short of works of art. Anybody who's ever played a Mario game has kind of dreamed of making their own level, and now that's a reality. In theory, you could really play this game forever. It could never end, and that has to count for something. So a game on this list that I recently picked up myself is LA Noire. LA Noire is a dark and violent crime thriller set against the backdrop of 1940s Los Angeles. Amid the post-war boom of Hollywood's golden age, Cole Phelps, a LAPD detective, is thrown headfirst into a city drowning in its own success. Corruption is rampant, the drug trade is exploding, and murder rates are at an all-time high. In his fight to climb the ranks and do what's right, Phelps must unravel the truth behind a string of arson attacks, racketeering, conspiracies, and brutal murders, battling the LA underworld, and even members of his own department to uncover a secret that could shake the city to its rotten core. Yeah, this game has been on my radar for like 5 years, and I finally got around to picking it up, and it truly is an amazing game. This game is made by Rockstar, and you know they don't ever take any shortcuts in making a game. It's kind of crazy. You really feel like you have to figure out what's really going on, and you have to watch people's body language, and you kind of really do feel like a detective, and I think it fits perfectly on the Switch. It's kind of shaking up like the kid-friendly stuff, because this game can get pretty dark, but I do recommend it to anybody who is a fan of stuff like this. Now it seems like a new Assassin's Creed game comes out every year, and there's a lot of Assassin's Creed games to choose from, but if you've never played, the one that I would recommend, Assassin's Creed The Ezio Collection. In Assassin's Creed The Ezio Collection, you get all games and DLC from Assassin's Creed 2, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, and Assassin's Creed Revelations, as well as 2 short films. you get to live the complete saga of a master assassin, learn the ways of the assassins and seek vengeance for the betrayal of your family, journey through 15th century Renaissance Italy and become the most legendary leader of the Brotherhood, then embark on a final quest of discovery as you learn the truth about the Creed. All these games are actually pretty old, but they actually hold up insanely well. I'm a huge fan of the Renaissance era, and I love old history stuff. In this game, just did all that for me and more. Be an assassin. I mean, you can do all this without getting in trouble. What else do I need to tell you? So if being an assassin and killing people is just a little bit too much crime for you, which I understand, what about just committing a little tax evasion? I'm talking about Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion. Take control of an adorable turnip who happens to be an absolute menace to society. After failing to pay taxes and getting evicted from her home, you must go on an epic quest to pay back your massive debt to Mayor Onion, garden tools to solve fantastic puzzles, meet eccentric vegetables and fruits, and take on treacherous fights. Along the journey, uncover what's spoiling this garden community, and rise to tear down the corrupt vegetable government. Yeah, this game is just, it hits every spot for me. It's beautiful artwork to me, the music is good, the gameplay is good, it's funny, it's witty, it's action-packed. You're a turnip who is committing tax evasion. Whoever thought up this game had to be on LSD or something, because how do you even think of something like this? Another cool thing is this game is truly always on sale for like $2 or $3 on eShop sales, so keep a lookout for it and buy it. You will not be disappointed. So now that Nintendo Switch is in its 7th year, there's thousands of games to choose from. What about day one games? Shovel Knight Treasure Trove is one of the Nintendo Switch launch games, and for good reason. Shovel Knight Treasure Trove is a full and complete edition of Shovel Knight, a sweeping classic action game series with awesome gameplay. But that's not everything in Shovel Knight Treasure Trove. It also features 4 additional games. Take control of Plague Knight, Spectre Knight, and King Knight on adventures of their own and battle each other in local 4-player showdown together. They form a grand and sweeping saga. In this game, you get Shovel Knight Treasure Trove, Shovel Knight Shovel of Hope, Shovel Knight Plague of Shadows, and Shovel Knight Spectre of Torment. Shovel Knight always tops the list of the greatest games of all time, and now you can figure it out all yourself. So definitely check this one out. Mario's always a hero, sometimes Luigi's a hero. In the Mario movie, Princess Peach is even the hero. But what about our reliable old sidekick Yoshi? Thankfully, we have Yoshi's Crafted World. Jump into Yoshi's own adventure in a world made of everyday objects, like boxes and paper cups. As Yoshi, you'll leap up high, gulp down enemies, and set on a treasure hunt to find all the different collectibles. On the flip side, stages can be played backwards, providing new perspectives to explore and new ways to locate some of the more craftily hidden items. It all started with Kamek and Baby Bowser set out to steal a gem set stone, but when the artifact's gems are sent flying, it falls upon Yoshi and friends to find them. The cool thing about this is you can play this game co-op, just pass one of your friends a Joy-Con, and team up as fellow Yoshis. You know, I think this game is amazing. It looks beautiful, it's just charming, and Yoshi is a very important person in the Mario universe, and he's often looked at just like a pet or a sidekick, but that's not true. Without Yoshi, Mario wouldn't be who he is. And there is a conspiracy that Mario punches Yoshi in the back of the head to make him eat stuff. I don't know what's really going on here. Maybe Mario needs to be investigated. Oh no! So Bayonetta has become an amazingly popular franchise, and for great reason. It truly is an amazing game series. But how did it all start? Once upon a time, there was a young witch named Ceretza. Long before this training of the dark arts would come to be called Bayonetta, she took a fateful journey into the Forbidden Forest. Alongside her was Cheshire, her very first demon. Possessing Ceretza's stuffed toy, play as both Ceretza and Cheshire, and search through the treacherous forest to look for the power to save Ceretza's mother. Yeah, this game is truly beautiful. It's amazing. I really appreciate when game series go and give you an origin story, because 99% of times these people just pop up. This game kind of reminds me of like the graphics of Okami. When you see the graphics in this game or games like that, all you can think is, wow, this is truly art. Some of the puzzles in this game are so creative and so thought out. Unfortunately, I feel like if people weren't fans of Bayonetta, they never bought this game, or some fans of Bayonetta didn't even buy this game. And I'm not going to do justice by explaining it, so I hope that if you've ever been interested in this game, that you take the leap and buy it, because you will not be let down. I always check the comments for recommendations, and a game that always pops up is Shin Megami Tensei 5. And guys, guess what? It made this list. When a grisly murder scene in modern-day Tokyo blocks our protagonist's walk home, an unplanned detour leaves him buried and unconscious. He awakens in New Tokyo, a wasteland ravaged by an apocalypse. But before bloodthirsty demons can claim his life, a savior emerges and they unite to become the mighty being, neither human nor demon. With newfound power, the protagonist ventures through a realm filled with mythical deities and demonic tyrants in constant conflict for survival. Searching for answers, the protagonist must forge his own path in a battle between light and dark to dictate the fate of the world. Again, I'm not really good at explaining why this game is amazing as it is. It just is really, really good. The graphics are beautiful in my opinion, they pop. And for the sake of everybody who wanted this game on this list, I listen to you guys, I hear you guys, and I put it on here. Definitely check out Shin Megami Tensei 5. One of my most anticipated games from this entire year was Disney Illusion Island. I don't even know why I was so obsessed about this game. It turns out it was for good reason. I used to play this game on Super Nintendo, and it was Tiny Toons Adventure or something like that. As soon as I seen this game, it immediately gave me nostalgic vibes, and it was probably because of the memory of that. But you get to join Mickey and his friends on a brand new adventure in Disney Illusion Island. Mickey Mouse, Minnie Mouse, Donald Duck, and Goofy embark on a new adventure to find 3 magical books and save the mysterious island of Moneth. You will meet unusual allies and dangerous foes as you play solo or with up to 3 friends as the Fab Four and local co-op. Work together as you run, jump, swim, and swing your way to victory. Experience a brand new Mickey and Friends adventure with hand-drawn animation, a fully orchestrated original score, and featuring performances from the authentic voice talents. All of that aside, this game is truly amazing, and I hope everybody will get a chance to play this. So one of the greatest Nintendo Switch games of all time is Monster Hunter Rise. This game could easily be on the 10 greatest Switch games of all time list. Set in the ninja-inspired land of Kamura Village, explore lush ecosystems and battle fearsome monsters to become the ultimate hunter. It's been half a century since the last calamity struck, but a terrifying new monster has reared its head and threatens to plunge the land into chaos once again. This game is amazing by itself. You're going to play this, you're going to have a lot of fun. The graphics, the music, the gameplay, it is all 10 out of 10 in my opinion. But they also have some new DLC called Sunbreak, and what this does is essentially turn your Monster Hunter Rise game into a brand new, fully fleshed out game. That's right, this DLC is so packed full, it's like getting a brand new Monster Hunter game. So what I would recommend is you go through, you play this game, you can actually find it on the eShop on sale all the time for $20. And then when you're done and you're wanting more, then buy the DLC and you get a basically whole nother game inside of your game. And after all that, you're going to become a lifelong Monster Hunter fan. Then you can go back and play all the old stuff. There is tons of Pokemon games on the Switch. Probably my favorite would be Pokemon Legends Arceus, and I've mentioned that in a previous video. But the one that I would recommend the most is Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. The first Pokemon game I ever played was Pokemon Yellow, all the way back on the Game Boy Color. It is, in fact, your first real Pokemon adventure. Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee is basically just that, but a remastered version. These games are truly amazing, and you could say, they're kind of geared towards a younger audience. I would argue they're geared towards everybody, and this is the start of it all. If you want to get into Pokemon, this is where I would recommend you start. You get your first 8 badges, you go and fight the Pokemon League, and you uncover some mysteries along the way. I've actually beat this 3 times I think on the Switch already because I just enjoy it that much. Because this is actually well polished, it looks like somebody put a lot of time and effort into this. If I'm being honest, I would argue that this is the definitive Pokemon game on the Switch and the #1 Pokemon game on the Switch I would recommend. Myself, I'm not too big on zombie games. I'm not sure why. The genre just kind of missed me maybe. I appreciate them and they are fun, but it's not something I ever look forward to. The only zombie games I really play is on Black Ops 1 and 2. I'll play those zombie games forever, literally thousands of hours. The #1 zombie game on the Switch that I would recommend is World War Z. World War Z is a heart-pounding zombie shooter that has captivated over 15 million players. Inspired by the Paramount Pictures film, World War Z focuses on fast-paced, third-person shooter gameplay featuring swarms of hundreds of zombies. Humanity is on the brink of extinction. From New York to Moscow, Jerusalem, and more, the undead apocalypse continues to spread. As the end looms, a hardened few band together to defeat the horde and outlive the dead. If I'm being honest, this game actually looks amazing. Strictly off the gameplay and graphics, I would almost think that this is like a cloud version of a game. And it just runs so well on the Switch somehow. It's a lot of fun. The cities that you get to visit look great. If the movie never existed and this game just came out, I think a lot more people would appreciate it. And if you're a fan of zombie games or action games, this is one you have to play. So a game series that I recently got into myself is Yooka-Laylee, but the one that I would actually recommend is Yooka-Laylee in the Impossible Lair. So unlike the first game, this game is actually 2.5D, but I think being that way and being more linear, it actually provides a better gaming experience. You must run, jump, and roll your way through a series of challenging 2D levels, face a puzzling overworld, and rally the Royal Battalion to take down Capital B and his impossible lair. Each level offers beautiful, rich visuals with detail and depth. Yuka, Laylee, and a whole host of colorful characters, good and bad. Yeah, this game could easily be overlooked because you might think it's more of a childish game, but dude, that's your first mistake. This is an amazing platformer, and I hope that we get a new Yooka-Laylee game moving forward. If I were you, I would definitely try this game out. You're going to have tons and tons of fun. So a game that just came out that I found super interesting is Master Detective Archives Raincode. Yuma, an amnesiac detective in training, and Shinigami, the spirit haunting him, tackle unsolved mysteries. This is a brand new lucid noir detective adventure. Kunai Ward, the city of Rain, is gripped by immeasurable, unsolved mysteries. Under the complete control of a corrupt corporation, Master Detectives of the World Detective Organization, a group dedicated to eradicating the world's unsolved mysteries, rise to the challenge of uncovering the truth. Progress the story by conducting investigations in the real world, gathering clues needed to solve the case, then using those clues to conquer the mystery labyrinth. In the mystery labyrinth, the goal is to use the evidence collected during an investigation to reach the truth. I am a huge fan of like mystery stuff and old detective stuff, and I think this is a really cool take on this genre. And when I seen this game, I didn't know what was quite going on, but once I realized what it was and how they added all these new elements to a game like this, I was absolutely 100% all in. If you're a fan of like murder mysteries and crime games, this is absolutely a game that I would recommend you checking out. So what can I say about Undertale? No, I truly mean that. Like, what can I say? How can I describe this game? It truly is one of the greatest indie games of all time. This game was recommended to me legit probably like 20 times before I finally went and purchased it during an eShop sale, and then I sat and played it some more, and when it was all said and done, I didn't even realize I had beat the game. It immersed me that much. It truly is a special game, like a generational game. In my opinion, Undertale probably has one of the strongest fan bases out of any game ever, and that's insane for a game that wasn't made by a huge studio. Sometimes I describe a game being charming, but I can't think of any other game that would fit that description perfectly. This game has one of the most unique battle systems in any game ever. Like, you don't have to fight and battle people. If you want, you can beat this entire game without killing somebody. This is the sign to go and check this game out. You will not be disappointed. Ever since Breath of the Wild came out, there's been tons of games that have came and been Breath of the Wild clones. It's almost its own gaming genre now. One of my favorites is Oceanhorn 2, Knights of the Lost Realm. And immediately, you're just going to say, okay, yeah, this is a Zelda clone. But to be honest, there's nothing wrong with that. I seen a preview of this game, and at the time I believe it was only for Apple Arcade, but the moment it showed up on Nintendo Switch, I was probably one of the first people to buy it. I was so excited, and it was a lot of fun. I mean, the game is absolutely beautiful. The story is actually pretty decent as well. It's always going to be overshadowed by being called a Zelda clone, but if you actually give it a chance, it's a lot of fun. This is the second Oceanhorn game. The first one is more of like a top-down Zelda clone, and I'm curious. I really hope we get a third game, because if we do, I think people are going to understand that the series is special. So I have been skateboarding pretty much my entire life. Tony Hawk started it all for me. Since then we've got stuff like the Skate series and Skater XL and Session. Maybe you don't want a simulation type game. Maybe you want a skateboarding game that kind of reinvents the whole genre. If you're a fan of skateboarding, or just a fan of great video games, I 100% would recommend Ollie Ollie World. Flip and flow through the vivid and vibrant world, meeting colorful characters as you grind, trick and air your way to discover the mythical skate gods on your quest for Nirvana. Get it? Nirvana? It's like gnarly and Nirvana. Traverse a delightful and weird world as you take on missions, challenges, and make new friends along the way. Customize your character's looks, tricks, and style while you experience explorable levels with multiple paths that provide an array of opportunities for player expression. So this is basically like a platformer, but your whole mode of transportation is skateboarding. There's 2 more Ollie Ollie games, and they come as a package, and you can normally find them on the eShop for like $3. So what I would recommend is if you play this game and you enjoy it, which you're going to enjoy it, go and play those games, because why not? Any game that can kind of reinvent the genre deserves a look at in my book. Why not just have one more Zelda clone on this list? But this one truly is special, and I'm talking about Tunic. Explore a land filled with lost legends, ancient power, and ferocious monsters in Tunic, an isometric action game about a small fox on a big adventure. Stranded in a ruined land and armed only with your own curiosity, you will confront colossal beasts, collect strange and powerful items, and unravel long-lost secrets. So one of the coolest things about this game is it's actually insanely hard. And you may be saying, well, how is that cool? Because some of the charm about this game is overcoming an insanely hard obstacle. There's maps in this game that you'll find, but they'll be in a different language, a language that was invented just for this game. So you're not going to be able to decipher it. And you could go online and try to figure it out, but where would the fun be in that? Yeah, I would have to say this is another series that I hope continues to get support after this and we get further entries, because being that it is a Zelda clone, this is a damn good one and one that kind of takes on its own direction. So a game that I don't know how didn't make this list sooner is Celeste. This game is truly phenomenal. It is just an amazing work of art. Celeste takes place on Celeste Mountain, which features several areas, including an abandoned city and resort, and is seemingly haunted, housing many strange occurrences. Madeline, a young woman who serves as the protagonist, spontaneously decides to climb Celeste Mountain to regain self-esteem and stubbornly persist until she reaches the mountain's summit. It truly is one of the best 2D platformers I think I've ever seen. There's a lot more than meets the eye. It gets kind of deep, the story's really good, it has a really good message, but this game can get hard. It can get tricky, and I think if you're just looking strictly off the graphics or maybe the art style, you're going to be in for a surprise. I've always been interested in finding cool 3D platformers ever since playing Mario 64, wondering how can I recreate this feeling? Is that ever going to be possible? Well, the game that I think probably has done that closest to me recently is A Hat in Time. This truly is a remarkable 3D platformer. It's wonderful, it's magical. I think this game is really special and kind of a little underrated. In A Hat in Time, you play as a tiny space traveling girl with a big top hat. Her adventure is halted with all her fuel. The timepieces is lost, scattered across a nearby planet. Hat Kid must now jump, fight, and stitch new hats to make her way into every nook and cranny of this new world in order to restore her fuel and resume her journey. On her way, she'll bump into the menacing mafia of cooks, the goofy birds of Dead Bird Studio, the spooky shadows of Subcon Forest, and more. I don't remember how I first learned about this game, but when I first seen it, I was like, oh man, that game looks awesome. I can't wait to see when this is coming out. And then I did a little bit of research and it turns out it had been out for a while. And I don't know how it missed me, but this game is not something you want to overlook, especially if you're a fan of 3D platformers. This is a must play. One cool thing about the Nintendo Switch is there's games from every kind of genre. Inside is a game that's multi-genre. It's kind of hard to define it. It's a little creepy, but the story and the gameplay is something very, very special. I guess you would call it a puzzle platformer. You're an unnamed boy who explores a surreal and mostly monochromatic environment, presented in like 2.5D gameplay. While running through a forest, he encounters masked guards with flashlights, as well as vehicles with mounted spotlights and fierce guard dogs. He escapes the guards, then crosses a road where a block has been set up with more vehicles and guards, to a farm where parasitic worms cause pigs to run rampant. This game really does give me an unsettling feeling when playing it, but it's a game that once you start playing it, you can't put it down. I don't know what it is, and the crazy thing is, I truly don't even think I'm a fan of like the horror genre, but this game just seems so much more than that. It's creepy, but you want to know what's going to happen next. You want to know what this boy is doing, where he's going. And another cool thing about this game is it truly is always on sale on the eShop for like $2, and at that price, this is a no-brainer. This is definitely something you need to check out. So one of the coolest games on the Nintendo 64 was Pokemon Snap, and I always thought it was a distant memory. Like, yeah, that was a cool time. It was something to cherish, but that's it. That wasn't until new Pokemon Snap arrived. This game really does capture all those old feelings of Pokemon Snap from back in the day and adds a new element to it, and I think this is an underrated game. I know it's Pokemon is super popular. I think people thought, okay, Pokemon Snap is here, that's gimmicky, and just said cool and moved on. This is a really cool game. Let's say 10 different people play this game, we take the same route and we see the same Pokemon, and our challenge is all to take a picture of the same Pokemon. All 10 people, in theory, will have a different picture. You kind of have to get the Pokemon to interact with you, to get good angles of them, and I think the game actually gets pretty deep in the gameplay. It's a lot of fun. I guess at the base, it's just you taking pictures of Pokemon, but yeah, this is a sleeper hit. This game was freaking awesome, and I recommend it to Pokemon fans, or just fans of really cool, weird games. Whenever I made a video about the top ranked Switch games, I was kind of surprised to see some of the games that made that list, and Tetris Effect Connected was in the top 10 highest ranked Switch games of all time, and I guess it was for good reason. I could say this is just a Tetris game, but I kinda would be lying, because it's a lot more than that. I don't know how you can elevate something as great and as simple as something like Tetris, but they truly did it in this game. Tetris Effect Connected is Tetris like you've never seen or heard it or felt it before. An incredibly addictive, unique, and breathtakingly gorgeous reinvention of one of the most popular puzzle games of all time. You have music, backgrounds, sounds, special effects, truly everything that perfectly sync with how you're playing. This game has over 30 stages and 10 different modes, so it's something you'll want to keep playing over and over again to experience every different kind of effect that you can experience. I just always thought some stuff was not supposed to be changed. How can you fix something like Tetris and make it better? Some stuff is supposed to be left alone. And that's what I would have thought until seeing and playing this game. Because this is the definitive version of Tetris now. Another game that is truly amazing, and you can always find it for cheap on the eShop, is Metro 2033 Redux. This is one of the greatest shooting games on the Switch, and I would argue just one of the greatest games on the Switch that kind of gets overlooked often. In 2013, the world was devastated by an apocalyptic event, annihilating almost all mankind and turning the Earth's surface into a poisonous wasteland. A handful of survivors took refuge in the depths of Moscow underground, and human civilization entered a new dark age. You have never ventured beyond the city limits. One fateful event sparks a desperate mission to the heart of the Metro system to warn the remnants of mankind of a terrible impending threat. This game truly is great, and for any fan of first-person shooters or kind of shooters that bend around to the horror genre, this is the perfect game for you. And I truly can't believe it is cheap as it always is, because it just runs and looks and plays great on the Switch. Yeah, that's it. Just check this game out, play it. You're gonna come thank me later in the comments. And this is me from the future saying, you're welcome. So Pokemon gets all the love. And I know Pokemon is the dominant force now, but I've always been a fan of both. I like Pokemon and I like Yu-Gi-Oh! And Yu-Gi-Oh! Legacy of the Duelist Link Evolution is one of the best Yu-Gi-Oh! Games I've ever played. I bought this game on day one. I was super excited for it, and I've been playing it ever since. It takes you through every different series of Yu-Gi-Oh! From the start all the way up until now, and you can play as the characters, you can fight all the characters, you can go through each storyline. Like what I like to do is become my own duelist, pick my own deck, and battle all the people from the show, and you feel like you're the master duelist. And I think it does a great job of retelling the storylines in Yu-Gi-Oh! Because I always thought Yu-Gi-Oh! Had better stories than Pokemon, but the Pokemon games and the cards were just more massive, so that's what people focused on. But yeah, I go back and watch Yu-Gi-Oh! All the time now. The story is really, really good, and it's cool, man. When you summon Exodia, you feel badass. There's no other better feeling than that. So I know this is a niche entry in this video, but if you're a fan of Yu-Gi-Oh! Or card games, this is a no-brainer. It's a must-play. So another game that arguably could have been on my first top 10 Switch game list is Dead Cells. You explore a vast, ever-changing island filled with secrets, branching paths, and challenging foes. You have silky smooth controls and fast-paced combat that are undeniably enjoyable. They make each run more addictive than the next as you progress and unlock permanent upgrades. So basically what Dead Cells is an action-adventure game where you explore an island and finish the game in one run without dying. Each run is different as the island changes every time you die, but don't worry. Each time you die, you'll gain new resources and unlock permanent upgrades, making you stronger, giving you access to more weapons and items, and even revealing new levels and paths to explore. So it's a game that you just want to keep playing and keep playing and keep playing because it just keeps changing and it keeps adding on to the game. Recently they just had Castlevania DLC added to this, and it is just such a badass add-on that it really took this game to the next level. And I would kind of admit that Dead Cells is the standard for 2D action platformers. So how long is a minute? I mean, time is all relative, right? A minute to me might be different than it is on Mars, but that's all irrelevant because the game we're talking about is in fact called Minute, and you only have a minute, and not a Mars minute, an Earth minute. Like I said, the game is called Minute, and it's an adventure you play in 60 seconds at a time. Journey outside the comfort of your home to help unusual folk, uncover countless secrets, and overcome dangerous foes, all in hopes of lifting a rather unfortunate curse that ends each day after just 1 minute. So every time you play this game, you legit have 60 seconds. So you come outside of your house, you figure something out, and you say, all right, boom, a minute. You start in your house again. Then you're going to come out of your house, you're going to go a different direction, you're going to figure out something else. And I know it seems like a minute isn't a lot to get stuff done, but the way they've built this game is you really do feel like refreshed. Every time a minute starts over, you're like, all right, I figured that out. Now I'm going to go in this direction. Now I'm going to go in this direction. And you really do start uncovering some really cool stuff. I don't know. This is just a phenomenal freaking game. It's one of the greatest concepts I've seen in a game that doesn't get too stale or tiring. They do it perfectly. And yeah, Minute is a must play. When talking about the best games on any console, it's normally going to be the big 3D platformers or the huge first party stuff. But I like to go deep and dive into weird, different games. And a game that everybody should try is called Unavowed. A demon possessed you 1 year ago. Since that day, you unwillingly tore up the trail of bloodshed through New York City. Waking up on a stormy rooftop, you meet your saviors, the Unavowed, an ancient society dedicated to stopping evil. Life as you knew it is over, but joining them, you have a chance to reverse some of the damage you've done. So this game is again genre bending, like it's kind of point and click. It's kind of a puzzle platformer. It's kind of a action game. I don't know. It's a lot going on. One, I think the graphics are beautiful, but they can kind of look one-dimensional. Like what you see is what you get, but it's not that at all. This is a freaking amazing game. I would like to challenge everybody that just plays normally platformers or first-person shooters or something to step outside of your comfort zone. This game is going to be the perfect game to do that. So the first game we're here to talk about today is Bomb Rush Cyberfunk. And yeah, as soon as this game was announced, I was like, whoa, this kind of reminds me of Jet Set Radio. And obviously that's where they're heavily inspired from, but this is a good game. I love the graphics and I love the cel-shaded art style. And yeah, it just feels like a callback to early 2000s games. And this one is actually pretty freaking good. I was curious to see how good it's going to run, how good it's going to play, but I am pleasantly surprised. Start your own cipher and dance. Paint graffiti, collect beats, combo your tricks, and face off with the cops to stake your claim to the sprawling metropolis of New Amsterdam. Red is a graffiti writer who lost his head and instead has a cyberhead. In search of his roots, he joins the Bomb Rush crew. Together, they slowly discover who it was that cut off his head and how deep Red's human side is linked to the graffiti world. There's a story here, and it actually gets pretty interesting. The gameplay is a lot of fun. I myself have been using a skateboarder because I am a skateboarder. You can pick whatever you want. Definitely check this one out. So the next game was rumored for a while. Is it coming? Is it not coming? Is it a remaster? Is it a remake? Is it a port? Red Dead Redemption is finally on the Switch, and it is only just a port, but let me be clear and tell you that it is a damn good one. I truly do think they had upscaled something because the graphics do look better than I remember, but yeah man, this is amazing to be able to take on the go now. So if you have ever played Red Dead Redemption 2, then you're absolutely going to like this, but this is in fact a prequel to that. When federal agents threaten his family, former outlaw John Marston is forced to hunt down the gang of criminals he once called friends. Experience Marston's journey across the sprawling expanse of the American West and Mexico as he fights to bury his bloodstained past in the critically acclaimed predecessor to the 2018 blockbuster Red Dead Redemption 2. And you will be very happy to know that this also includes Undead Nightmare. It runs amazing, it looks fantastic. Yes, we would have rather had a remake or a remaster, but I think that all things considered, this is a great game and you have to check it out now. So a game I was very happy to learn about and to eventually play was called Baldo the Guardian Owls. And when this game finally came out, it was kind of broken. It didn't play right. You would play a couple hours and it would completely delete your save file. And I was very devastated because I just love the art style and everything about this game. Well, I'm here to tell you now that this game is actually fixed. They have patched it and it's amazing. The prophecy is coming true. A pure heart child has been born. The no-heart creature sealed in the underworld by the wise owls is destined to rise again. Journey through a magical land teeming with mysteries to unravel. The guardian owl is full of challenging puzzles to solve and dungeons to explore. This game kind of reminds me of Ni no Kuni a little bit, but like more mixed with a Zelda game. And yeah, that's a recipe for a masterpiece in my opinion. And I think this game really is good. And it was definitely overshadowed by a faulty launch, which is okay. Like things like that should be pointed out. But once those games are fixed, that should also be pointed out. So yeah, this is definitely a no-brainer. You definitely need to check this one out. So I'm a huge fan of parody style games and movies, and I do miss when that was more prevalent, but there is a game here to save the day, and it's called Unmetal. And this basically on the surface level is a parody of Metal Gear Solid. This game is actually freaking badass. It's a lot of fun. You play as Jesse Fox, who finds himself imprisoned in the covert military base where he was arrested for a crime he didn't commit. Jesse must now escape using his dry wits, quick words, improvised skills, and arsenal of warfare. You must use MacGyver gadgets and an elaborate explanation of how it all went down. If that all fails, he'll just use his fist. So like I said, this is basically a parody of Metal Gear Solid games, but this game is just great. It's super freaking funny. It's a lot of fun. It is more on the adult side, and there are some stuff I couldn't show you in this video that would get me demonetized, but this is just a game you have to check out. Next, we need to talk about Cave Story. A young, amnesiac hero discovers a hidden land and vows to protect the defenseless creatures who live there. Can he stop the Mad Doctor and learn the truth about his own past? This game is highly polished and addictive. It uses retro game styles to deliver an all-out action-adventure extravaganza that's both charming and deadly. This is a very, very challenging platform/shooter action game where you'll have fantastic weapons, colorful characters, and deeply nuanced storytelling. This might even become your most favorite game of all time. And you may be saying, well, how's that possible? I've never heard of this. Or maybe if I have heard of this, I've never played it. Games like this are hidden gems that will just knock you back and truly make you appreciate video games for what they are. Amazing works of art. We're able to tell beautiful stories. So, I like goofy games. I know, maybe I'm just a goofy person. No More Heroes 3 is goofy, but it actually has a lot of action to back it up. The legendary assassin Travis Touchdown makes his glorious return to the madness. Our hero Travis Touchdown must make it to the top of the galactic superhero rankings in order to stop the evil prince FU and his 10 alien assassins from taking over the Earth. Earn money to enter ranked battles. To enter into each subsequent ranked battle, you'll need to pay a pretty steep fee. Travis must take on various missions around town to make the money he needs to fight. An invitation to the next fight will be sent once the required fees have been transferred via ATM. And use the Joy-Con's intuitive controls to wield Travis Touchdown's trusty beam katana, along with a slew of pro wrestling techniques. Am I starting to paint a picture here? This game is insane. Like truly the definition of insane. There's always some weird wacky stuff going on, but there's also some action to keep you addicted to the game. And I'll admit this game may not be for everybody, but I definitely think it's worth at least checking out. And yeah, I liked it, and you know what? That's all that matters. My opinion's the only one that counts, damn it. So a game that has grown on me over time is Paper Mario: The Origami King. The kingdom has been ravaged by an origami menace. Join Mario and his new partner Olivia as they battle evil folded soldiers, repair the damaged landscape, and try to free Princess Peach's castle from the clutches of King Ollie in this comedy-filled adventure. Magic strategic, ring-based battles. Line up scattered enemies and plan your attack to maximize damage with the new ring-based battle system that requires both puzzle-solving skills and quick wit. At first, I'll admit, I played this game and I put it down after a couple hours because I was comparing it to old Paper Mario games. I think a year or two went by and I decided, you know what, let me just try it again. Like obviously people put a lot of time into this game. There has to be something there. And once I actually gave it a shot using this ring-based battle system, I kind of found it innovative and kind of cool. And then I was able to get into the game. Probably one of the better Mario stories, to be honest. And yeah, now this is a game that I would 100% recommend because I do think it's one worth checking out. And yeah, Paper Mario is just cool, man. So I really hope this game did do good and continues to do good because I would like them to continue the Paper Mario series. So this next game that I'm going to talk about is because of you guys. Because this channel is growing, I'm able to talk to game developers now. And I got in touch with one and they actually gave me this game to review. And it's freaking amazing, it truly is. The game is called Bell Boomerang. This is a fast action platformer packed with beautiful pixel art and exciting variation in every level. The monarchs have been placed under a monstrous curse. Play as Belle with the aid of her legendary boomerang and raise the curtain on this evil scheme. Leap through the world full of charming creatures and lively environments, inspired by the shining stars of the Golden Age. No boomerang alone can save this kingdom. You also need to toss cherries, in-spirit statues, and soar through the flame-filled skies. There is no shortage of unique power-ups to keep the energy high. So maybe not off the graphics or the gameplay, and I don't even know why I'm making this comparison, but it kind of reminds me of Cuphead a little bit, because at first you're like, okay, it's just some cool graphics, it looks good, but dude, this game is freaking hard. The graphics are so beautiful. I was playing on my Switch OLED, and it probably is one of the best looking games we have on the Switch, period. This is all because of you. We were able to check this one out. definitely check out Bell Boomerang. So yeah, Fire Emblem Engage is a great game, but I would argue that Fire Emblem Three Houses is just as good, and even better in some regards. 3 territories, 3 houses, it's your very own journey. Like I said, I think Fire Emblem Engage is a phenomenal freaking game. I know I'll catch a lot of flack, but I actually prefer this to Engage. This is one of the best RPGs ever created. I love how it's 3 different houses, and it feels like you really want your students or your house to do good. Like you really get connected to them, and I love the battling in this game. At first I didn't think it was for me, just strictly off like trailers, but once you get into it, it's so freaking addicting. There's literally hundreds of hours of game to enjoy in this, and I don't want people to forget about this one, so it has to be on this list. And the last game I want to talk about today is called A Short Hike. Hike, climb, and soar through the peaceful mountainside landscapes of Hawk Peak Provincial Park. Follow the marked trails or explore the backcountry as you make your way to the summit. Along the way, meet other hikers, discover hidden treasures, and take in the world around you. Choose your own path to follow and see where it leads you. You never know what you might stumble into. And you know, in every single video I have to say at least one game is charming. Well, this is the game for that video. This game truly is a definition of charming. It's kind of therapeutic, it's very relaxing, and it's one of those games where you're never going to appreciate it until you play it, but when you do play it, it just brings you a sense of joy and a sense of adventure. Like, you really do want to explore, but you want to get to the peak and you want to talk to the hikers, but you kind of want to know about your character. And when you're done, you're going to just be a lot happier. And this is just a very, very special game. The first game we have to talk about is Sea of Stars. Just off the graphics alone, this is almost a callback to the Super Nintendo era of RPGs, and it's a damn good callback. Embark on a journey of peril and wonder as a solstice warrior in this turn-based RPG inspired by the classics. Sea of Stars tells the story of 2 children of the solstice who combine the powers of the sun and the moon to perform eclipse magic. This game does have engaging turn-based combat, so you have to time your hits, do some combo attacks, there's boosting and damage types and spell breaking, and it's just everything you love about a turn-based RPG. There's also a lot of ways to travel in this game, so you can swim, climb, vault, jump off, or hoist up as you traverse the world seamlessly. But what you're going to be here for is the adventure, like the story. And let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, this one is amazing. The ratings and reviews have been coming in, and this game has been getting super high praise. This is definitely a must play. So recently on a top 10 Switch game list, I included Blasphemous, and I was very pleased to know that Blasphemous 2 is right around the corner, and now it's officially here. Awakened in a strange new land and displaced from its final resting place, you are thrust back into an endless cycle of life, death, and resurrection, with no other option than to explore this perilous new world and uncover its long-forgotten secrets. In this game, there will be hordes of grotesque enemies standing in your way, but there will also be bosses lurking in the darkness, waiting for their chance to return you to the grave from which you came. Taking them down won't be easy, but with Blasphemous 2 offering more chances to customize and improve your skill set along with several new unique weapons, yeah, this is a no-brainer. You're going to have a lot of fun in this game. The world is non-linear, so it's going to be tricky. There's going to be a lot to figure out here. Since you have woken in a strange new land, your journey starts in a series of enchantingly grotesque landscapes, oozing gothic charm and littered with unforgiving traps. How you tackle the labyrinth world remains at your discretion. There is no wrong turn to be made, only scores to settle. This, again, you're going to hear me a lot in this list. This is, again, a no-brainer. This game is badass. The Blasphemous series definitely needs to be held in higher regard, and you guys just need to play this one. So in our last Nintendo Direct, there was games flying by the screen, this was popping up, and then something popped up and I was like, whoa, that looks pretty cool. And the game is called Vampire Survivors. In this game, you will mow down the thousands of night creatures and survive until dawn. Vampire Survivor is a gothic horror casual game with roguelike elements where your choices can allow you to quickly snowball against the hundreds of monsters that get thrown at you. Hell is empty, the devils are here, and there's no place to run or hide. All you can do is survive as long as you can until death inevitably puts an end to your struggles. In this game, you're going to gather gold in each run to buy upgrades to help you with the next run. If I'm not mistaken, I think each round is around like 30 minutes or so, and that may sound long or short. I'm not sure how you're going to take this, but it's exactly the amount of time you need. It's the amount of time you need to be able to get going, make a strategy, figure out how you're going to approach this, and get into your rhythm. And then once you're into the rhythm and you're destroying all these monsters, the time's almost up. I think this game is going to be a sleeper hit, so definitely check out Vampire Survivors. So a really cool game that I just learned about that just came out is called The Cosmic Will Sisterhood. This game, I would say, is genre bending. Like, it's a narrative game, but it's also a card game. It's just a truly great indie game. The Cosmic Wheel Sisterhood is a thought-provoking narrative experience from the creators of the Red Strings Club, featuring a richly diverse cast of characters. The Cosmic Wheel Sisterhood explores themes of identity, community, and personal responsibility in a beautifully handcrafted universe. You play as Fortuna, a witch living exiled on an asteroid who forms a pact with a forbidden creature in the hopes of regaining her freedom. Reconnect with your witch friends after a 200-year-long exile. So, this game may or may not be for you. This is something I wish I could force everybody to play. It truly is a special game. I think it's going to be overshadowed by bigger releases, and that's just very unfortunate because I would go so far as to say that this game is a masterpiece. What about having a cult and being a cute little lamb? Surely that has to make for a great game, right? Cult of the Lamb casts players in a role of a possessed lamb, saved from annihilation by an ominous stranger, and must repay their debt by building a loyal following in his name. Start your own cult in a land of false prophets, venturing out into diverse and mysterious regions to build a loyal community of woodland worshippers and spread your word to become the one true cult. In this game, you want to build your own flock. Collect and use resources to build new structures, perform dark rituals to appease the gods, and give sermons to reinforce the faith of your flock. This game truly is freaking crazy. But you also want to destroy the non-believers, explore a sprawling, randomly generated world, fight off hordes of enemies, and defeat rival cult leaders in order to absorb their power and assert your cult's dominance. Yeah, this is truly a crazy ass game, but I think it's a must play. It's a lot of fun, and there's a lot of replayability there. Yeah, people often ask me, should you play this game? Should I play it? Should I not play it? Definitely check out Cult of the Lamb. So the next game we want to talk about is Death's Door. Reaping souls of the dead and punching a clock might get repetitive, but it's honest work for a crow. The job gets lively when your assigned soul is stolen, and you must track down a desperate thief to a realm untouched by death, where creatures grow far past their expiration date and overflow with greed and power. You will have talon-sharp combat. Utilize melee weapons, arrows, and magic to overcome a fantastic array of beasts and demigods. Mistakes are punished and victory is rewarded. Gain an edge by customizing your character stats and mastering the abilities and upgrades you obtain. There is a dark mystery to unravel here. Track down and defeat colossal tyrants with stories and motivations of their own. Experience a somber, yet darkly comedic tale. I love video games. I truly do. I love every freaking game. Some are good, some are bad, some are not mentionable. Games like this truly make me appreciate the art of gaming. This is again a must play. So a game that recently got remastered kind of out of nowhere, at least I think it was out of nowhere, is Quake 2. This falls into the category of what I think we're calling them now is boomer shooters. This is as good as it was when they first came out, and I would argue it's even better now. Mankind is now at war with a hostile alien race that attacked Earth. In response, humanity launched a strike. It failed, but you survived. You are outnumbered and outgunned. Fight your way through fortified military installations and shut down the enemy's war machine. Only then will the fate of humanity be known. I think games like this are truly works of art, and they are truly a picture or video, or I guess a game, of that time period. Back in the late 90s, this game was revolutionary. And now you may be saying, well, look at what we have now. We have like Call of Duty and stuff like that, but this game truly was groundbreaking, and I think games like this 100% deserve to be remastered. And yeah, I had to include this one on this list. Owlboy is a story-driven platform adventure game where you can fly and explore a brand new world in the clouds. Pick up your friends and bring them with you as you explore the open skies. Overcome obstacles and greater enemies in one of the most detailed adventures of this era. So in this game you're a mute. That means you can't speak. Your character Otis struggles living up to the expectations of owlhood. Things spiral from bad to worse with a sudden appearance of sky pirates. What follows is a journey through monster-infested ruins, with unexpected encounters and burdens no one should have to bear. This is a love letter to pixel art for a new audience. Owlboy is a story-driven action-adventure with a unique mix of fighting and platforming. And the great thing about games like these, and the graphics and just the gameplay style, is they are the definition of a timeless game. If I'm not mistaken, it took like people 10 years to make this game. So you know a lot of time and passion went into this project. Definitely check out Owlboy. So a game that came and went very fast, which is very unfortunate, is Mario & Rabbids Sparks of Hope. I absolutely loved the first Mario & Rabbids game. I thought it was just kind of gimmicky and I wasn't going to like it, and then I went to like Best Buy and found it for like $20 or something. Ended up playing the entire game, like playing straight through it. It was so fun. So when this one got announced, I could not wait to play it. I love the new setting, and it did not disappoint. I think that if you've never played a Mario & Rabbids game, you're gonna think, it's too childish, it's too gimmicky, it's obviously not a mainline Mario game. They could have used any character and it would have been great, but it really does enhance the game having Mario characters, and the rabbits are really funny. In the game, you team up with Mario, Luigi, and Princess Peach. Rabbid Peach, Rabbid Luigi, and their friends on a galactic journey to defeat an entity and save your Spark companions. I absolutely love the space setting. I love the graphics, I love the gameplay. This game routinely goes on sale in the eShop for like 20 bucks or something like that. This is a game that every Nintendo Switch owner needs to play, and there is a demo available, so check that out. The last game I want to talk about is Doki Doki Literature Club, and you may just off the graphics alone or the gameplay may think, okay, this definitely is not for me. Don't assume that too fast, there's definitely something here. Welcome to the terrifying world of poetry and romance. You play as a main character who reluctantly joins a literature club in search of a romantic interest. With every poem you write, you will charm your crush and begin to unfold the horrors of school romance. Do you have what it takes to crack the code of dating sims and get the perfect ending? So you may think, okay, this is just a dating sim. No, this is a psychological horror story as well, and it mashes together seamlessly, flawlessly. This really is a great adventure. It truly does make you feel like you're experiencing something, almost like an event, and yeah, this game is awesome. I think there's a lot to be played here, a lot to uncover, a lot to explore, and it gets creepy, dude, it really does. This is a game that you definitely have to dive into and pay attention to, so I know it may not seem like it's for you, but you guys have to trust Mr. Robot Joe. I'm here to help you guys out. Definitely check this one out. The first game we have to talk about is Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and what do I even say? How do I even begin to describe this game? When I first seen the trailers, I thought, cool, a wackier version of a 2D Mario game. Now playing it, I understand. It's way more than that. It truly is special, and it feels like they reworked this concept from the ground up. And from what I've seen online, the developers had no time frame to get this game done, so they had full reign to do what they wanted to do, and it translated so well. I'm certain this is going to go down as one of the best 2D Mario games of all time, if not the best 2D Mario game of all time. And what an amazing game to get so late in a console's life. Like, this could have easily been a Switch launch game, and I'm glad it came out later, and it shows that the Switch is capable of having some beautiful games, and yeah, it's perfect. I really don't have any critique against this game. Anything that I would say negative against it would just be my own personal preference and just stuff I'm nitpicking. Like, it's perfect. It really is. This is a game you need to play. The next game we have to talk about is Sonic Superstars, and I'll be honest, I was very excited from the very first moment that I seen this game trailer. Like, I just was like, whoa, what's going on here? And it's strange because this almost feels like Sonic's answer to Super Mario Bros. Wonder. It's like, yeah, it's a 2D Sonic game, but it gets wacky and weird. And I think that's just a really strange coincidence to have these two games release the same exact week. But that's not a bad thing. Gamers need to rejoice. This is amazing for us. You have Sonic, one of the most iconic franchises of all time, and it's reinvented with better graphics and like cool gameplay elements. What do I need to tell you here? This game, again, beautiful. It's cool that they added all these weird elements into it where you feel like it's just your imagination running wild. And one thing I will say is this game is $60, and to be honest, I feel like it should have been probably closer priced to $40. So my personal opinion is I would wait for it to go on sale, and you could probably see this going on sale pretty soon, or get it physically on sale from certain retailers. But if you want to pick it up now for $60, I have no pushback against that. This is a great continuance of the Sonic saga, and it makes me excited for the future of Sonic. I really am excited to see where the series will go. So I love when games from back in the day are remastered, and I'm not talking about big stuff like a Sonic or a Zelda or something like this. I'm talking about little niche stuff that feels like a part of your childhood. And the next game we're going to talk about is just that. The next game we have to talk about is Gargoyles Remastered. And what a treat this is. When I seen this pop up, I was like, there's no way. This truly feels like somebody took a piece of my memory from my childhood and brought it back into 2023. Relive the epic journey of Goliath and the Gargoyles, featuring enhanced visuals, animations, special effects, all inspired by the acclaimed animated series. The world of Gargoyles comes to life with a level of detail that will thrill fans of the animated series and retro gaming enthusiasts alike. I absolutely love everything about this. I was a kid watching Disney Channel when I was little, watching the Gargoyle show, and then I would play the game. Don't quote me on this, but I think it was on Super Nintendo, if I'm not mistaken. But I would play this game, and I just loved it, and it's just a big part of me. You know what I mean? This was such a big part of my childhood that my grandpa even got a gargoyle tattooed on his arm before he passed away. Like, this is so ingrained into my childhood. It's so crazy, and I hope this is a trend that continues. This looks fantastic. Again, I have no pushback against this, and this game is brand new at $15. You can't go wrong with that price. So another game we need to talk about is Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 Turbocharged. And believe it or not, when I made my top 10 Switch racing game list, the first Hot Wheels made an appearance on that list, and for good reason. Please do not be misled by the word Hot Wheels and thinking it's just a kid's racing game. These are some of the best fleshed out racing games like ever, and what is better than being a kid and building your own Hot Wheels track and saying, man, I wish there was a way to do that for real. Well, you can do that in these games. I literally couldn't find a critique in the first one, and this one just ups the ante 100%. It takes it to the extreme. Every single thing that was good about the first game, they've made better in this one, with some added stuff as well. In this game, there's more than 130 vehicles. So you feel like you get to collect Hot Wheels. Like, I remember being a little kid and just buying any Hot Wheel I could buy just to collect something. And yeah, that's so cool about this game. It would have sucked if there was only like 20, 30, 40 cars. Over 130 cars, dude. That is so crazy. And a lot of fun things about this is like they put Hot Wheel tracks in like real world environments. So it could be your backyard. It could be a mini golf course. It could be just anything. And that's awesome because that's where Hot Wheel tracks are. You just set them up wherever you're at. This game it does everything perfectly. Like, you want to go fast, you want to do cool spins, you want to crash into your opponents, and Hot Wheels games for some reason go super underrated and under the radar. If you're a fan of Hot Wheels or racing games or just fun games in general, definitely check this game out. So the next game we have to talk about is called Dwarf. Dwarf is a tower defense dungeon crawler RPG where you play as a young dwarf tinkerer who adventures into a ruined kingdom and unearths the lost technologies of the ancient warsmiths, turrets, and traps. These are the only weapons that can protect the dwarves from Witch Queen Vondra and her army of bloodthirsty trolls and monstrous creatures hell-bent on conquering the surface. And I really like this game because it blends two genres of gaming like perfectly. You have an RPG and you have a tower defense game, and it, like I said, it just works perfectly. The graphics are so cool, so charming, the music is great, the animations are great. I think this is a really cool game that I didn't even know about until doing research for this video. And I think this is going to be a sleeper hit. This really is innovative, and it's a cool way to tweak both genres. Like, tower defense games are always going to be classics. RPGs, there's millions of them. How do you stand out? Well, this is exactly how you do that. Again, this game is full priced at $20, so for an amazing adventure, for 20 bucks, you cannot go wrong. This game checks every box, and again, this is a game that you need to play. The last game we're going to talk about today is Hellboy: Web of Word. Welcome to the Word. Built in 1962 by an occultist, the Butterfly House is more than a mere residence. It's a gateway. This is a roguelike action brawler, so go toe-to-toe with a wave of nightmarish creatures as you explore the realms within. Combat has been engineered to create challenging encounters that encourage you to learn patterns, dodge, parry, and of course, punch your enemies into oblivion. We gotta address the elephant in the room here. Look how great the graphics look. You feel like you're inside of a comic book. I don't know how they did it so perfectly, but I don't think I've seen this done in a better way. And it's Hellboy. Like, who is more badass than Hellboy? I don't know. It's gonna be hard to top this. I'm not a huge fan of like superhero stuff or comic book stuff, but this is a game that I cannot wait to play. I really can't. I thought that I was tapped out on Switch games. I was like, well, Super Mario Wonder's here and maybe I'll play some of this, some of that, but I think I'm done for the year. It turns out I'm not even close to done. This game is full priced at $25, but it's actually on sale right now for only $20. When every game seems to be $60 or more nowadays, this is a welcome treat. Not everybody has this kind of money to shell out for video games, so anytime I can find an amazing video game for a great price like this, sign me up. There was over 100 amazing Switch games that I think every single one is worth checking out. If you've made it this far, I just want to say thank you so much for your support. It truly means the world, and I know I'm not as big as some of the other YouTubers, but I think we're well on our way, and this community means everything to me, so I hope you enjoy what I make. I don't know. Guys, I just want to say thank you. And you guys know me, I will see you very soon with a new video. Peace out.